Welcome to this vlog or vlogumentary on the role of marriage and family therapist, MFTs, in divorce-related legal issues. Section 1, the role of marriage and family therapist, MFTs, in divorce-related legal issues. In this presentation, MFTs will learn about MFTs in the general divorce process, child custody, MFTs and child custody evaluation, MFTs releasing information when subpoenaed, and the AAMFT Code of Ethics, MFTs in the divorce process. MFTs in the general divorce process. MFTs help families understand divorce as a long-term process, not an episode. MFTs help families process major changes of divorce. MFTs need to help divorcing families renegotiate intimacy and power boundaries in new family systems. And MFTs help encourage divorcing family resilience, adaptability, and strengths. The family system and individual family member changes. MFTs can help divorcing family members understand that during the divorce process they may expect to experience many changes, such as changes in roles and rules, changes in boundaries and expectations, changes in family dyads and triads, changes in relationships between spouses, changes in relationships between children and parents, and changes in sibling relationships. Changing boundaries, redefining rules. MFTs can help divorcing family members with the primary goals of divorce, boundary, and intimacy redefinition. The central process of relationship change in divorce involves redefining boundaries, a process we also refer to as renegotiating relationships. Intimacy refers to relationship strength and level of closeness. Additional major changes to be negotiated in the divorce process. During the divorce process, there will be many major changes that divorcing families will need to navigate. MFTs need to be prepared to help divorcing family members through the major changes ahead of them. Some of the major changes divorcing families may expect are power differentials, boundaries, roles, household rules for both households, communication, loyalties, and divorce as an emotional process. In the divorce process, the deconstructing, reconstructing family system generally experiences strong and at times seemingly overwhelming discordant feelings with opposing goals and requirements for future interpersonal interactions. MFTs can educate clients about normative and non-normative changes that they may expect and help clients navigate their way through the changes. The divorce process over time. MFTs can help divorcing family systems by reminding them that once new family relationships, communication, roles, rules, goals, and expectations have been redefined, tensions may lessen. However, boundaries continue to be refined and adapted as divorcing family systems attempt to deal with changing residences, schedules, routines, and finances. Reconstructing families will still need to process their emotions and find ways to communicate in healthy ways, especially when children and child custody is involved. Intimacy redefinition in the divorce process. MFTs can help families co-parent in healthy, effective ways. Often in divorcing families, co-parenting results in a dispute about children that may actually be an attempt to punish, maintain contact with, or simply get a reaction from the former spouse. Clear differences exist in the grieving process of children, the remaining spouse, and the ex-spouse who left the family. Co-parenting. Parents do not divorce their children, and because of this, they cannot fully divorce each other. The central task is to disentangle ongoing parental roles from spousal roles that have ended. Divorcing parents experience changes in roles as single parents or step-parents. MFTs understand that in addition to normal developmental family lifespan transitions, in divorcing families, parents and children have the additional stress of forming new families with new roles within that emergent family. MFTs understand that in the divorce process, parent-child attachment may become less secure in children during the divorce process. It may be more difficult during the divorce process for divorcing parents to maintain an authoritative parenting style. Non-residential parents may purposely attempt to distance residential parent-child relationships, parental alienation. Parent-co-parent-child relationships may become more ambiguous and emotionally painful for children. Increased financial responsibilities may force custodial and non-custodial parents to find additional sources of employment, resulting in less time with the children, and may cause additional stress for children in divorcing families. Children in divorcing families experience added stress from co-parenting disagreements in discipline, household rules, boundaries, communication, changing roles, and attempts at parental co-parental alienation. Children in divorcing families benefit from consistent, authoritative parenting and consistent structure. Cultural and generational factors in divorce process. MFTs need to consider client-family system and individual cultural and generational factors as they work with families through the divorce process. For example, the maternal grandmother often plays a particularly important role in rearing children after separation or divorce, especially among African American families, according to Emory. Older adults increasingly have been found to be raising grandchildren due to their adult children's divorce. Anger, grief, and the divorce process. MFTs understand that divorcing family systems experience different levels of anger and grief. It is important for MFTs to encourage family members and not oversimplify the family's feelings of anger or grief. Remember that during the divorce process, anger is common among divorcing spouses. Children of divorce experience anger and grief from several sources, i.e. having to leave their home, neighborhood, friends, and school, anger at parents for separating, anger at a step-parent. Children grieving divorce often retain hope that their parents will reconcile and grieve differently and cyclically. Grief and anger are experienced differently by the spouse who left the marriage and the spouse left behind. Client self-esteem, identity in the divorce process. A client who is affected by their ex-spouse leaving the marriage may experience feelings of self-doubt and lower self-worth, may become depressed, and may isolate from others. The role of the MFT is to help clients navigate through their anger, grief, feelings of loss, and lowered self-esteem, and help them set future-oriented, positive, healthy, strength-focused goals for the future. MFTs may encourage clients to build or rebuild a strong support system. How MFTs can help families. Recommendations for families through the divorce process. Help clients resolve intimacy, boundary, and power differential issues. Encourage parents to co-parent with clear, consistent boundaries across households. Encourage co-parents to build and maintain structural consistency in children's lives. Encourage co-parenting in agreement, not putting children in the middle of parenting battles. Authoritative parenting styles by custodial and non-custodial parents. Encourage appropriate warmth and parental attachment. Encouraging co-parenting from a strengths focus. Help the family identify ways in which they're resilient, adaptable, and have overcome struggles in the past. MFTs can help clients resolve feelings of grief, loss, and change. Divorce is complex and multi-leveled. As an MFT, do not minimize the client's emotional grief and anguish. Help clients understand that divorce is a process. Encourage clients in building strengths and hope-focused, future-oriented goals. Help identify with the client's and family's adaptability and resilience. Section 2, Child Custody, MFTs and Child Custody Evaluation. When mediation has not been successful, a qualified psychologist is often called on to conduct a child custody evaluation. Requirements of standard of care following ethical and professional guidelines act to protect and preserve the rights of all, with the best interest of children being the central focus. Child Custody, MFTs and Child Custody Evaluation. This section will cover considerations for MFTs counseling clients involved in child custody evaluations and child-parent bonding issues. We will cover child custody evaluation components, parental alienation syndrome, MFTs, and PAS. Child custody evaluation components. Here we see the components of child custody evaluation: the child evaluation, the conjoint parent assessment, the individual parent evaluation and child evaluation, and individual parent evaluation. Child custody evaluation. In child custody cases, MFTs need to understand that child custody only determines who the child spends time with and when, not if the parent has a right to case notes. Although it would be unusual for a custodial parent not to have access to the child's medical records, you still need to follow proper procedure to protect yourself from liability. The process of child custody evaluations involves assessment, evaluation of assessment results, interpretation and analysis of assessment results, and discussion of assessment conclusions. Custody evaluations differ from bonding studies in that bonding studies refer to adoption. Child custody evaluations include a review of background history, legal history, clinical observation of parental mental status, clinical interview of parent, clinical observation of family interaction, collateral history, i.e. mandated report history, history of psychotherapy, fit between developmental stage and current observed behavior, and evaluation of cultural support system and substance history. Parental alienation syndrome, PAS, occurs when parental influence or programming is combined with the child's own disparaging views of a parent. Overall, there are 4 contributing factors to PAS. parental programming, subtle and unconscious influencing, the child's own scenarios, family dynamics, and environmental and situational issues. When it is determined that PAS exists, the level of PAS is evaluated as mild, moderate, or severe. Mild, not generally necessitating intercession. Moderate, family therapy with a single therapist for the family. Severe, family therapy with a single therapist for the family. In this case, the court may order child custody in favor of the parent who is alienated. MFTs and PAS. MFTs must keep child custody evaluation records separate from client therapy records. MFTs involved with child custody evaluation are expected to be aware of their responsibility in client education to provide psychoeducation on PAS and what will be expected of them. Documentation. Need to remember that accurate and thorough documentation is critical in child custody cases. Written documentation, a signed statement of understanding, and written assessment, goals, treatment plan, periodic review, interventions, response to interventions, discussion, diagnosis, and referrals, and individual counseling or referral for parents involving consultation. Child custody and MFTs. AAMFT Code of Ethics Considerations for Child Custody Evaluation. Separation of custody evaluation from therapy. To avoid a conflict of interest, marriage and family therapists who treat minors or adults involved in custody or visitation actions may not also perform forensic evaluations for custody, residence, or visitation of the minor. Marriage and family therapists who treat minors may provide the court or mental health professional performing the evaluation with information about the minor from the marriage and family therapist perspective as a treating marriage and family therapist, so long as the marriage and family therapist does not violate confidentiality. Section 3. MFTs releasing information when subpoenaed. During litigation, attorneys may question or defend the mental health of a client and will serve a subpoena on an MFT to produce client records, to prove a deposition on client mental health, or to testify in court. It is essential that MFTs understand when and when not to respond to a subpoena. MFTs responding to a subpoena. State laws vary according to state with differing laws concerning legal standards for mental health professionals. It is critical that you refer to the laws and regulations in your state for responding to a subpoena, as well as for every area of mental health with which MFTs interact. Consult an attorney qualified in the area of inquiry. Consult AAMFT ethical considerations for responding to a subpoena, and consult your malpractice liability company for information on how to respond to a subpoena. Responding to a subpoena. Should you respond? In general, no. MFTs frequently believe that subpoenas are court orders requiring compliance or be held in contempt of court. Subpoenas are court orders or writs, and compliance should be followed. Check with your state laws on requirements for requests for mental health records. Do not respond in general unless the subpoena incorporates a separate additional court order written by a judge with a specific authorization for issuing a subpoena. Otherwise, do not respond. Section 4, AAMFT Code of Ethics, MFTs in the divorce process. Ethical considerations and the role of MFTs in the legal process. Responsibility to clients. Marriage and family therapists advance the lives of real families and individuals. They respect the rights of those seeking their assistance and make reasonable efforts to ensure that their services are used appropriately. Knowledge of regulatory standards. Marriage and family therapists maintain adequate knowledge of and adherence to applicable laws, ethics, and professional standards. Divorce-related legal issues, MFTs, law and ethics. Both law and ethics govern the practice of marriage and family therapy. When making decisions regarding professional behavior, marriage and family therapists must consider the AAMFT Code of Ethics and applicable laws and regulations. If the AAMFT Code of Ethics prescribes a standard higher than that required by law, marriage and family therapists must meet the higher standard of the AAMFT Code of Ethics. Marriage and family therapists comply with the mandates of law but make known the commitment to the AAMFT Code of Ethics and take steps to resolve the conflict in a responsible manner. The AAMFT supports legal mandates for reporting of alleged unethical conduct. Client rights in the AAMFT Code of Ethics. MFTs counseling clients through the divorce process must follow AAMFT ethical standards. AAMFT codes applicable to the divorce process include the following: informed consent, client autonomy and decision-making, confidentiality, disclosing limits of confidentiality, maintenance of competency, written authorization to release client information, confidentiality and consultation, accurate presentation of findings, and protection of electronic information. Divorce is a reality often faced by clients who come for counseling to help them navigate the divorce process. MFTs need to be prepared to help their clients as they move forward through the divorce process. MFTs need to understand the general divorce process, how MFTs become involved in child custody evaluations, how to and when not to respond to being served with a subpoena, and to understand ethical codes of conduct for MFTs as written in the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapists. With a clear understanding of the divorce and child custody process, MFTs will be able to counsel, document, and help clients through the divorce process. MFTs certainly need to consult their individual state laws and regulations when working with clients in the process of divorce. This concludes this presentation of the role of marriage and family therapists in divorce-related issues.